Hello, friends. If you have trouble sleeping, try listening to the story in this video. You will fall asleep in less than 5 minutes if you listen to the cool stories in the following video. Ember had always felt a little different from the other children in the village. While others played and laughed freely, she often sat quietly near the edge of the forest, listening to the wind and watching the snow fall. One cold afternoon, while walking along a narrow path, she noticed something glowing faintly beneath a snow-covered bush. Curious, she brushed away the frost and uncovered a feather, bright orange, warm to the touch, and pulsing like it was alive. That night, as she held the feather under her blanket, strange dreams filled her mind. A giant bird made of swirling fire, and light appeared before her, wings spread wide across a sky filled with stars. It spoke with a voice that echoed like gentle thunder, calling her name softly. "Ember, I need you." She awoke gasping, the feather glowing brightly beside her pillow. The next night, Ember returned to sleep clutching the feather, and the Firebird came again. It told her of a realm once filled with warmth and magic, now turning to ice. "The flame of life is fading," the Firebird whispered. "Only someone with a heart as warm as yours can bring it back." Though frightened, Ember couldn't turn away from the sorrow in the Firebird's voice. The bird showed her glimpses of frozen cities, animals turned to crystal, and trees stiff like glass. Ember's village might one day suffer the same fate if she didn't act. The Firebird promised her strength and guidance, but only if she was willing to face danger, fear, and her own forgotten past. Ember nodded slowly, and the dream ended with the feather glowing brighter than ever. Ember's first task was to find the frozen clock tower on the edge of the world, a towering structure made of ice and time itself. The villagers once spoke of it in legends, but few believed it was real. Guided by the feather's warmth, Ember travelled past icy hills until the giant frozen gears of the clock tower came into view, glinting in the sun like diamonds. Inside, an ancient owl named Thren perched on a clock hand high above. "Time only moves for the brave," he hooted. He told Ember she must prove her heart by answering 3 riddles, each more personal than the last. Her answers, filled with truth and kindness, caused the frozen gears to shift slightly. With a low groan, the tower slowly ticked for the first time in centuries, and a hidden door at the base swung open. Beyond the tower lay the River of Reflections, a place where the water showed not your face, but your memories. As Ember gazed into the calm current, scenes from her life rippled before her. Times she helped a lonely child, comforted a hurt animal, or gave away her food when others were hungry. She had forgotten these small kindnesses, but the river remembered. She cried quietly, realizing that even when she felt invisible, her actions had meaning. The river shimmered and parted, revealing a stepping-stone path. As Ember crossed, the feather flared with warmth, and she felt something awaken inside her. Hope, and something else she couldn't quite name yet. Ember soon entered a shadowy land where fog clung to her like cobwebs. Strange creatures formed from the mist whispered fears into her ears. "You'll fail! You're not special! Go back!" They were echoes of doubts she had felt all her life, now made real. She clutched the feather tightly, but its light dimmed the deeper she went. Just as the shadows surrounded her completely, a stranger appeared. A boy with silver eyes who claimed to be a fellow traveller. He helped Ember push forward, but something about him seemed hollow. That night, as Ember slept, she dreamed of the Firebird again, who warned her, "Not every companion shares your path. Some are born from fear." Ember woke and realized the boy had vanished, leaving behind a shadow-shaped scar on the ground. High in the mountains, Ember found a cave filled with crystals that sang when touched. Their voices created harmonies that tugged at her soul. At the center lay a stone door guarded by a wounded fox spirit. It growled, believing Ember to be a threat. She knelt beside it, offering warmth from her feather and kindness from her heart. Moved by her gentleness, the fox allowed her to approach the door. But to open it, Ember had to find the one stone that sang in harmony with the Firebird's song. She closed her eyes, let the memory of its dream call fill her, and touched a glowing violet crystal. The melody filled the cave, the door opened, and Ember passed through with the fox now quietly following her. In the skyroot forest, the trees grew high into the clouds, and their roots floated above the earth like giant vines. The only way through was by leaping between them. With her heart pounding, Ember stepped onto the first floating root. The wind wavered, but she didn't fall. Trusting the feather, she leapt from one to another, each time more confident. At the center of the forest, she found a nest nestled in a hollow tree. Inside was an egg glowing with orange light, but it was cracked and cold. As she touched it, the feather flared again, and a single warm tear from Ember's cheek landed on the egg. It shimmered and pulsed. Something inside stirred. That night, under the glowing canopy of floating leaves, the egg hatched. A baby Firebird emerged, small, trembling, with flickers of flame in its feathers. It chirped weakly, and Ember knew at once this was the Firebird's heart reborn. The bigger Firebird she had seen in her dreams had sacrificed its own fire to guide her. She fed it warmth from the feather, her hands, and even her stories. The little Firebird began to glow stronger with each word. It nuzzled against her, chirping softly. They were bonded now. 2 hearts, 1 mission. Together they flew gently over the treetops, headed toward the final realm. A powerful blizzard struck as Ember and the baby Firebird entered the last mountain pass. Snow howled around them, and Ember lost her way. Doubt crept in again. "Did I really believe I could save a world?" she whispered. She missed her warm bed, her village, the familiar quiet of home. But the Firebird, now glowing bright orange, fluttered onto her shoulder and sang the melody she had once heard in her dreams. It reminded her of the Firebird's plea, of her own journey, and the lives she might save. Ember stood up, wrapped the little bird in her scarf, and pressed forward through the storm. At last they reached the final gate, an ancient altar buried in ice. Ember placed the feather, now dim, into the center. The baby Firebird flew above her, and together they sang the melody of light. The feather burst into flame, melting the ice and sending waves of warmth across the skies. All around the frozen world, colors returned. Rivers flowed, trees budded, and animals woke from icy slumber. The original Firebird appeared one last time, restored to full glory. You are no longer just Ember, it said. You are the bringer of light. With a smile, it carried her home through the sky, leaving a trail of golden warmth wherever they flew. Upon her return to the village, Ember was greeted not with fear or confusion, but awe. The villagers had seen the sky glow orange as the Firebird flew overhead. The elders declared a festival to honor her courage, calling it the Festival of Ash and Flame. Lanterns were lit, stories were told, and Ember felt warmth from her people like never before. However, Ember could sense something in the Firebird's eyes, something unfinished. Though the frozen realm had been saved, an ancient power had been stirred. That night, as fireworks bloomed in the sky, the Firebird whispered to her, "There is a deeper fire, long forgotten. It burns beneath the mountains and must be awakened, or all we saved will turn to ash." Guided by flickers of ancient firelight, Ember and the young Firebird journeyed to the base of Mount Sindral, the oldest and quietest of the Flame Peaks. As they ventured into the mountain's belly, they heard whispers, not voices, but memories, echoes of fire spirits who had once danced here before going silent. They discovered a deep fissure filled with blackened bones and extinguished lanterns. The silence was heavy. A creature made of cooled magma, half stone, half sorrow, emerged from the shadows. "I was the guardian of flame," it groaned, "but no one remembered, and I grew cold." Ember offered the creature her warmth and a promise to reignite the forgotten fires. To awaken the inner flame of the mountain, Ember had to pass the Ashwind trials, 3 elemental tests left behind by ancient flamekeepers. The first was wind. She had to cross a ravine where ash blew like knives. With only the Firebird to guide her, she wrapped herself in faith and pressed forward, step by shaky step. The second trial was breath. Inside a smoky chamber, Ember had to sing a lullaby to calm the sleeping fire spirits. She remembered the songs her mother once hummed, and the chamber pulsed with red light. The final trial was silence. Complete darkness. No sound, no light. There she faced herself, not as a hero, but as a lonely child. She hugged that part of herself tightly, and passed. At the heart of Mount Sindral, Ember found a crystal pool. When she peered into it, the flames danced into visions of other children like her in faraway lands, holding strange feathers, glowing stones, or bits of magic. "You are not alone," a voice said from within the fire. "There are many bearers of light, and they are all awakening." Ember realized that her journey wasn't just about one realm or one Firebird. She was part of something much bigger. A gathering of children chosen by ancient elements to bring balance back to the fractured world. Her fire was only the beginning. Suddenly, the mountain trembled. A creature burst from the lava below, a dragon made of molten gold and sorrowful fire. It wailed in pain, steam rising from its tearless eyes. "I was forgotten," it roared. "They took my flame and sealed it beneath this stone." It had once been the protector of the Flame Peaks, before it was betrayed by those it had guarded. Rather than flee or fight, Ember approached and placed her hand on the dragon's snout. "I remember you now," she whispered. The Firebird hovered above, singing a note of remembrance. The dragon's anger melted into grief, then into warmth. Then I will rise again, it said, curling around the mountain's core, becoming its heart once more. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe so that I am enthusiastic about creating content.